Oh man, wow, boy, you guys, I'm gonna be honest with you. You all, your coach, this group, this energy early in this AM on a Saturday morning. This is my bread for the day. And when I say bread, what I mean, ladies and gentlemen, this is my manna. All right, this is my daily early AM bread. I mean, seriously, this event is amazing. I am so big on competition, taking care of your bodies, training your bodies for whatever means necessary for combat, for sports, or just for overall your goals that you have aspired for your own temple, for your own abilities. And so this is amazing. We're outside. It is a beautiful morning. Oh my goodness, y'all, please just make some noise, man, if y'all feel what I'm feeling right now. Woo, boy, this is amazing. I mean, we're literally out, as you should be. I mean, when we're talking about training, when we're talking about sports, when we're talking about conditioning, what better place to be? Don't get me wrong. I, as you all know, which is one of the reasons I'm here, I am a coach, Coach Kai. I want to first of all thank your coach and coaches, I should say, for having me out. Please give it up for them. I so appreciate this. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. They are truly believers of what it means to not only wish for something, but to work for something. And I think all of you all can attest to that as evidence of our being here, being out here right now, right in this moment, early in this AM. The early bird is still the one that gets the worm. I don't know if y'all have ever heard that, but that's an old saying, but it's such a true saying. It's the early bird that gets the worm. When you wake up in the morning and you see the dew on the grass, on the lawns, if you look, you'll see birds that are actually already pecking the soil. They're not just pecking the soil, they're pecking the soil for food, hoping that they will find and get and gather and consume the worms early before the others arrive. So when you get up early, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Even the breeze is blowing as we're out here now, and as I'm just so fortunate and blessed to speak to such an array of talent. My goodness, this is just amazing. My intros, for those of you who don't know, tend to be pretty lengthy, pretty long. So I'm gonna try to keep it short for the sake of time. But I know your coaches have given me like 30 minutes, or I know one of the coaches, I'm not gonna call his name because I don't want to get him in trouble. He said, "Coach, I'm gonna be honest with you," and I'm so appreciative and humbled by it. He said, "I've heard your messages, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't want to limit anything in you and limit anything from you that will limit your time." I so appreciate that, but don't get me wrong, I am a respecter. At least I try to be a respecter of time, but I appreciate that particular coach who said wherever you are led, it may exceed 30 minutes. Because it's just I'm just so grateful to have those who have not only seen me maybe in person in action, but have heard me and heard me enough and believed in me enough, believed in my message, not necessarily me, but believed in my message enough where they've invited me to such an event like this. So I want to do this first before we go knee deep into this. Okay, how many of y'all are early risers? Just raise your hands. Just raise your hands. When I coached for years, and I still do on some capacities, but when I coached, every practice we would have what we call the ring of fire. Okay, or the circle of commitment. Okay, the ring of fire or the circle of commitment. Now you may ask, why do you have two titles? Because some days I would show up to practice, it felt like a ring of fire. I mean, it was going to be fire and brimstone. It was going to be a fire and brimstone message, preparation before we even touched anything. Whether it was a basketball, whether it was a baton and track and field, whether it was just touching any form of equipment that was conducive to our sport at that time, or to our training at that time, whether it was a football, anything. And so there would be a circle of fire, but then there would be like the ring of commitment, the circle of commitment. And that was a different type of message delivery to our teams, our personnel, these young talented men and women who I was just so fortunate and blessed to not only coach, teach, but also to be coached and also to be taught. You all didn't see that coming, huh? I don't know why people think that just because you coach, you don't learn, and that you yourselves are not coached. I don't know why people think just because you coach that you are the only one teaching and not being taught. I beg to differ. I'm always being taught. I'm always being coached, and I have had some of the greatest athletes that have coached me in our most dire times of need. I've had some of the greatest players blessed to coach that have taught to me, in my lack of learning, and if I could just share this right quick before we get started, ladies and gentlemen, with this hopefully powerful, potent, stabbing message, because it will stab you. Yes, it will stab you. And I don't mean that in a vulgar, violent manner, but I do mean that in a vulgar, violent manner. Yes, not a tangible knife to stab. Oh, but a word that will stab you to your core. And it will go deep. Meaning if it goes deep, anything that goes deep, it tends to hurt. If a needle you're getting injected into your arm, if it goes halfway, it stings a little bit, right? Okay, yes, but if they go deep, then guess what? You feel that a little more. Yeah, so you will be stabbed this early AM, ladies and gentlemen. But when I say that just because you coach, that mean that you can't be coached. Just because you teach, that mean you can't be taught. I never forget that this was years ago. I had one of the best teams I had ever had in the history of my coaching, and this was basketball. And I called them thoroughbreds. If I was to find some of them now and call some of them now, they would tell you. If I asked them, I wouldn't even put the word in their ear. I think they would remember. All you would have to do is ask, what did Coach Kai call you? What were you all known as? Not just as players, but it was another term he used for you guys. What was it? I begged you to ask them if they were here. I would beg you, to ask them if they were here. And honestly, this is what you would hear: thoroughbreds. Thoroughbreds. That's what I referred to them as. Thoroughbreds. As a matter of fact, at one of our banquets, I created a superlative that was labeled or titled thoroughbreds, and it went to the select few. Thoroughbreds, if not the whole team. I can't remember, that was so many years ago, but thoroughbreds. Well, I remember this one years ago, we had really been competing at a high level because our practices were at a high level. Our trainings were at a high level. I would always yell out to them and tell them, your practices should be harder than your games. That was always iterated. That was always echoed. And if I didn't say it, they said it. I would just yell out, your practices, and they would fill in the rest, should be harder than the games. Your practices should be harder than the game. Your practices should be harder than the game. And honestly, there would be times that I would say that and I would yell that to where they were dog dirty tired. Dog dirty tired. Meaning they had nothing else left, at least they thought. But there's always something left in the tank if you tap in, if you go deep in. That's why this message will not only go deep, it will stab you, and it will pierce open that pocket that has been laying dormant of energy that you do not believe you may have. Oh, but it's a way to prick that particular pocket, thus to release that which you thought you did not have. Your practices should be harder than the game. And there will be times you can hardly hear a voice. Your practices should be harder than the game. Yes. Some people say that was torment. No. That was preparation. That was preparation, gentlemen, ladies. That was preparation. Your practices should be harder than the game. So we competed at a high level because our practices were at a higher level than our games. That's what made us as great as we were. Yes, I said great. I have not referred to a lot of teams I've coached over the years as great, but this particular group, great, because their mental capacity was, oh my Lord, I just start reflecting back on this group. I'm not going to call their names, so I'm tempted. I got to call at least a few names. Jesse, Keon, and Snipes. We called him Snipes, and his last name was Snipes, and boy, was he a sniper from behind that arc. And Snipe, and he was only about 4'2". Y'all are laughing. 4'2". I'm exaggerating, but he probably wasn't right. But I'd say 4'8" maybe. But Snipes. So I say this because their mental capacity, oh my goodness, it was at such a high level. I could tap into the deepest part of their mental capacity and they would respond. Oh, and make no mistake, these were not just athletes, they were scholars as well. As a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, a few of them are already in college. Well, no, I know I'm saying a few. They are in a couple I know are in college. And a couple out of, as a matter of fact, those three I just mentioned, they were academic scholars, by the way, which means they were double-edged swords. I'm going somewhere with this, ladies and gentlemen. They were double-edged swords. In the classrooms, they killed it, they cut it. On the courts, they killed it, they cut it. On the fields, they killed it, they cut it. On the tracks, they killed it, they cut it. On the course, they killed it, they cut it. Now, when I said track, field, court, please understand, I'm not just talking about on a tangible track, field, court, or course, but an intangible track, field, court, and course. Your classrooms, ladies and gentlemen, your scholarly abilities all have a course that you will have to traverse. All have a court that you will have to play and compete on. All have a track that you will have to run and not get weary on. See, it's twofold. And so I was one of those coaches, and I still am, though I don't coach like that anymore, is, oh my goodness, when it came to three things: your behavior, your academics, and your athleticism. Okay, those were the main three things that I would always emphasize, because it was never just one-sided with me. Okay, your coaches, I know, hold some of those same principles and values, if not all those same principles and values. Okay, but going back again, so when I say that, even as a coach, I was being coached. Even as a teacher, I was being taught. This is what I want to reflect on. Years ago, again, we competed at a high level, and so high that honestly, their mental I tapped into in such a way that it took some of them, it took out. Some of them it actually took up. Some of them actually were taken away because I tapped into the mental aspect first. I would always tell them, I gotta get your mind first. I don't care about your physical body right now, your physical self right now. I got to get your mental self where it needs to be first. And those several individuals I mentioned, they already had it. Oh my goodness, they already had it. And others too. So I'm not knocking those other members of our squadron at that time. But these particular three just truly stood out because they had it. They had it. So even when we go deep into the mental dwellings of that which you just felt like you did not have, some of them would excel in dramatic fashion. So years ago, we were getting ready to head into the playoffs. We were getting ready to head into the playoffs, and we were only to play one game. I think, yeah, it was only one game that we were to play in order to enter into the actual championship game. Okay. Well, we had killed it that season. I mean, my goodness, we killed it. We lost a few. I think we lost about 2 games. Yeah, I think we lost about 2 games that particular year. But long story short, gentlemen and ladies, is I got word. I'll never forget it. It was that Friday. It was on a particular Friday. We were in practice, and we were to play that Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken. That following Tuesday, we were to play that following Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken. And that Tuesday game was against a pretty, a pretty good competitor. Okay. Well, I got word from my athletic director and she knew that I was, I could tell she knew I was going to be livid because of the way that she posed the unfortunate news. And so, long story short, she called me, and this was actually during practice, or right before practice, I'm sorry. And she was very apologetic, but what had happened was one of the other coaches from one of the other teams, schools had said, hey, hold on, this particular team, talking about us, they lost to this other particular team, and we beat that other particular team. So therefore, we should be able to play them for the first round, in order to see who goes to the second round. And then, according to the rules that went on at that time, then after you go through the first, second round, then if you complete those tasks, then you make it to the championship game. And if I'm not mistaken, it was 2 games before you got to the championship game. It may have been 3, but nonetheless, we were only scheduled to play 1 before heading to the championship game. Well, when that other team spoke up, then the overall athletic director of that district, stated, hey, yep, they're right. And the thing that got under my skin was no one conversed with us, not even the overall athletic director. He just pretty much just said, yep, you guys are going to have to play another round before entering into the championship round. And I was livid. But this is where I'm getting to. So I remember showing up to practice. My assistant coach was already getting everyone warmed up, and I think I told him I was going to be a little late or something because I had a meeting with AD or something like that. And showed up to practice, and I'm not going to lie, I was so upset. And so we had our circle of fire, we had our, a round table of commitment meeting, and I went on and I went in. this is ridiculous. What they did, da, 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 and I never forget. So we're gonna have to play 2 more games before heading into the championship game. And like I said, I think it was 2 games. I'm sorry, guys, if I'm all over the place, but that was so many years ago. But I want to say it was 2 games before we were able to enter into the championship game instead of it just being 1, 2, or 3. And so I told them this, and to my surprise, this is when, as coaches, you know this, your teams, your personnel are a reflection of you. Coaches, you know this. they are a reflection of you. They're mini me versions of you. Y'all laugh. It's the truth. Your teams, your personnel, they're mini me's versions of you. If your coaches are, if a coach is soft, passive, if a coach does not have a work ethic, if a coach is mild mannered, then their teams will also be the very same.